The world's richest man, Elon Musk, has completed his $44 billion takeover of Twitter, ceremoniously tweeting, "The bird is freed." However, the little blue bird appears to be gliding rather than soaring at the moment, with a very public internal meltdown appearing to be happening at the company. Mass layoffs, a flawed paid subscription model, fake accounts causing billions of dollars to be wiped from companies' market values, advertisers bailing en masse. All signs point to the fact that this may as well be the beginning of the end for Twitter. Twitter is one of the largest social media platforms in the world, with approximately 328 million active users, which makes it hard to believe that it's only been around 11 years. Twitter began as an idea that Jack Dorsey, the co-founder of Twitter, had in 2006. Initially, Dorsey had taken Twitter as an SMS-based communication tool. With it, groups of friends could stay connected to each other and share what they were doing. In a brainstorming session at the podcasting company Odeo, Jack Dorsey presented this SMS-based platform to its co-founder, Evan Williams. Evan and his partner allowed Jack to spend more time on the project and develop it further. The first version of this platform, referred to as Twitter, TWTTR, started seeing around 20,000 tweets per day in the first months. But this number grew to 60,000 in 2007. After receiving so much recognition at the South by Southeast Interactive Conference, Twitter started becoming well known in the social media world. The website started seeing 300,000 tweets per day by the year of 2008, which grew to 50 million tweets per day by early 2010. Not only did this social media platform become a hit with the people who wanted to share messages with friends, it also became the easiest way for companies to advertise and interact with their customers. Soon, TV shows and businesses started promoting hashtags and encouraging consumers to include them in their tweets, while Twitter handles quickly became an identifier used in personal and professional settings. Over the last few years, Twitter has continued to be one of the biggest names in social media. People and businesses use the social media platform on a daily basis, and there are approximately 500 million tweets posted every day. However, like other social media companies, Twitter has faced intense pressure to police the content on the site more closely to prevent harassment, hate speech, and disinformation, as well as better protect its users' privacy. Yet, shockingly, Twitter is one of the most hated social media platforms. It's a known place where anger thrives, and its users are always outraged, angry, and toxic. According to Statista, there are 2,900 million Facebook users worldwide. On the contrary, Twitter has 206 million users worldwide. Even though Twitter has few users compared to Facebook, it sets the social talking point and news trends. From here, it spreads to other social platforms. Twitter is primarily used by news media, politicians, governments, executives, celebrities, and businesses. Facebook sets personal talking points, whereas Twitter leads global, corporate, and government talking points. Bottom line is that over the years, Twitter has become a toxic place. It's a place where people are constantly arguing with each other. There's no middle ground on this platform. It's always in the two extreme positions. Moreover, nuanced ideas are often misunderstood and create outrage on this platform, and Twitter management has failed to fix all these issues over the years. Thus, Twitter is now one of the most hated social media platforms on Earth. Another issue is that the working mechanism on Twitter is different. For example, Reddit's platform. Similar-minded people can create Reddit communities and share and exchange ideas. People join communities that interest them, such as books, technology, news, pets, cats, cars, and so the Reddit communities are contained, and toxicity doesn't spill over to other communities. There's also an upvote-downvote system. Therefore, any comment and posts can be upvoted and downvoted by Reddit users. Thus, anything unpopular gets downvoted, and others can't notice it anymore. On the other hand, a good comment gets lots of upvotes. Facebook works somewhat similarly with groups and brand pages. People join Facebook groups that interest them and avoid those groups that they dislike. However, there are no groups, pages, or communities concept on Twitter, and user posts are public and open to see for every Twitter user. Anyone can interact, comment, and share other tweets. As Twitter users share the same common feed, it becomes toxic and thus hated by many users. Some people criticize others but get defensive and can't handle it when others criticize them. Hence, virtue signaling and mob mentality are rampant on Twitter. As well as this, anger thrives on Twitter. Whether a tweet will get more exposure depends on engagement. The more likes, shares, and comments a tweet has, the more it spreads by the Twitter algorithm. Because of this constant anger and outrage, Twitter is hated by everyone. Furthermore, character count limits every single Twitter post, and as a result of this, a proper discussion doesn't occur on the platform. Replies can only be short comments, which prevent well-informed informed dialogue. Anonymity brings the worst out of people. Vitriolic and outrageous comments are rampant. Thus, anyone who tweets anything on Twitter will get some form of pushback from others, and whether this pushback is justified or not is irrelevant, as it makes the original poster hate Twitter. And no two people will agree on everything. There will always be some ideological differences, but Twitter places all types of ideology in one single place. Democrats, Republicans, white people, people of color, straight or LGBTQ+ community members share the same Twitter feed. Thus, exchanges between entirely different ideological groups are easy and always push people to the extreme. Although there are a lot of artists, poets, engineers, and doctors on Twitter, their posts don't garner much attention. It's well known that negativity spreads more than positive news. A piece of negative information gets more engagement than uplifting news, therefore spreading faster. As a result, it seems Twitter is filled with negative, adversarial, bitter, and toxic posts. And that's another reason why Twitter is hated. Love propagates love, whereas anger propagates anger. Whenever a tweet gets a lot of likes and shares, it emboldens the original poster's ideology and belief. Many famous celebrities have millions of followers, and anything that a famous person says gets popular rapidly. However, opposing views by anyone is seen as an aggression. So this type of scenario creates a perpetual Twitter fight. It breeds toxicity, and many hate Twitter for this reason. The Twitter policy is also hypocritical. They implement their policy only to move forward with their ideology and regularly ban users if someone says anything that doesn't align with most people's doctrine. Sometimes the banning decision seems arbitrary. For example, one political group gets routine suspension and ban, whereas other political groups get a pass on the same issue. One politician gets banned, but a leader from another country gets a pass, even with more severe tweets. Therefore, these arbitrary policies and activities make people hate Twitter. Nowadays, Twitter acts as an online news media, so people visit Twitter for the latest and updated news. It's because anything new will get posted here first. In the real world, people don't say whatever they like. There are consequences for inappropriate public behavior, and other people will confront an unruly person. On Twitter, however, people can hide their identities, and there are almost no consequences for being mean to others. Anger-driven replies are easy to tweet, but there's no repercussions. Sometimes people just feel justified for being terrible to another human being, and many similar-minded people will also support this attitude on Twitter. No one is safe. Any reply will get counter-responses, therefore making everyone angry, and consequently, they start to hate Twitter. And then there's the takeover. If you've been on Twitter in the past week, you may have noticed that the platform has been emanating some slightly different vibes. After months of lawsuits, verbal mudslinging, and the near miss of a full-blown trial, Elon Musk is now finally the owner of Twitter. Elon Musk has portrayed his takeover of Twitter as a mission to protect freedom of speech and democratic principles. Quote, "I invested in Twitter as I believe in its potential to be the platform for free speech around the globe, and I believe free speech is a societal imperative for a functioning democracy," unquote. This is what he wrote in a letter to Twitter's board. There's no doubt that Twitter as a company and as a community is in flux, but so far, Musk has already fired top executives, flirted with adding additional paid tiers of service, tasked employees with finding ways to make the company more money, and spread his own share of misinformation. However, the world's richest man will not be able to ignore the pressure to make Twitter profitable from the string of banks, including Morgan Stanley, that have lined up to provide $25.5 billion in debt financing, making Musk's $44 billion acquisition one of the biggest leveraged buyout deals in history. Shortly after agreeing to buy the business this year, Musk had indicated that he wanted to quintuple Twitter's annual revenue to $26.4 billion by 2028, according to the New York Times. Advertising accounts for 90% of Twitter's revenue, and Musk has raised a number of suggestions to generate turnover by other means. Revenue-raising changes he has floated include increasing the popularity of Twitter's premium subscription service by making it ad-free, growing Twitter's payment business, charging a slight fee for commercial and government users, and finding new ways to make money out of tweets that contain important information or go viral. But will this work? After agreeing to roll his completely liquid shares of Twitter worth almost $1 billion into the new private company, Elon Musk has managed in less than 2 weeks to alienate a number of major advertisers, lay off almost half of its staff, possibly violated an agreement with the Federal Trade Commission, which has the ability to issue billions of dollars in fines, and sent out a very bleak outlook for the company one day prior to a town hall meeting in which he said the company was bleeding billions of dollars and could end up filing for bankruptcy. This came just one day after Musk had emailed staff saying that the economic picture ahead is dire. He added that he planned to end Twitter's remote work policy and come into the office at least 40 hours per week. Furthermore, Musk's open approach to speech on Twitter could also exacerbate long-simmering issues of toxic content and misinformation, affecting political debates around the world. However, the acquisition has been celebrated by some Republicans who have argued that Twitter censored conservative viewpoints. Researchers have said Twitter's rules have been essential to countering online hate speech and disinformation. If Musk, as is likely, destroys Twitter as it currently exists, he will be doing the world a great service. By wrecking the current function it performs for commentators, he will free journalism and politics from its concentration in a single online madhouse, and in doing so, no doubt entirely unwittingly help decentralize the spread of information. Like Legion in the New Testament, Twitter's constellation of unhappy, clamoring souls must be driven off a cliff. When he learns, as he perhaps already has, that the platform will never be profitable, he should smash his new train set. The greatest power that will accrue to him and the greatest gift he can offer civilization is not reforming Twitter through tweaks here and there, but by loading its servers into a SpaceX rocket and firing them into the heart of the sun, forcing us all, finally, to log off. Amidst all of this nonsense with Twitter, there has been a mass migration of users to Mastodon, the text-based social platform that is often described as a decentralized Twitter alternative. Mastodon is extremely different from Twitter, and there's a case to be made that it's ultimately a good thing. Mastodon is not new by any means, but Musk's chaotic and constantly shifting plans for Twitter, along with his apparent cluelessness on how the website he just bought works, has clearly sent loads of people searching for greener digital pastures. It's still unclear whether people are migrating away from Twitter permanently or merely preparing for the increasingly likely event that the site falls apart. Even so, it's clear that current events have made people thirsty for something new, and Mastodon is the platform that rose to the occasion. Unlike tweets, Mastodon's toots have a much longer character limit, for example, which ostensibly means less compulsive oversharing and more nuanced conversations. Its decentralized nature also means that individual servers can unite people with similar interests or backgrounds, and that the network as a whole is more resistant to censorship. It's becoming clearer than ever that platforms where human thoughts can be instantaneously posted and virally replicated at dizzying speeds, while addictive and sometimes fun, are simply not desirable. Faced with Twitter's ongoing implosion, isn't it worth considering that this entire mode of communication, frictionless and fleeting, algorithmically engineered for engagement at any cost, is ultimately not sustainable? Mastodon may not be the platform that answers these questions, but it at least points us in their general direction. It's never easy to adjust expectations, especially when so many of us are now extremely online. But with the ongoing collapse of Twitter and Facebook parent Meta, we may not have a choice. Good riddance, we say.